Alright guys, today is January 12th. Hope everybody has a great start to the week, or is having a great start to the week, I should say. This is going to be the last workshop for the month of January, and we'll be back in February doing another one. Obviously, I got a trip coming up, and I got some other things going on. And like I said last week, we're going to be trying to do these, kind of stagger them a little bit more, where I do probably 2 a month instead of 4 a month, which would be every single week. But this will be one of the only times this year that I'm going to be doing one kind of back to back from the one we did a week ago. So today we're going to be discussing releasing your album early, like doing early release before you release to streaming platforms. And primarily I want to discuss doing it on Bandcamp, which is a platform that I have not done early releases with yet, but I'm going to be doing at least one of them hopefully this year that I have planned, and it's just a great platform to be able to do that with. But I think what I'll start with before we get into the article is my experience with early releasing albums and projects and things like that. Obviously, my album Unknown Advantage from 2024, that was where I started early releasing, and I ended up using the platform called Even, which I've highlighted a lot as well. That platform runs very similarly to Bandcamp, where you're able to like set up an early release, but you can release the album. And a big thing that they push is giving people the option to have merch as well. So, starting with Unknown Advantage, I did, the vinyl and the digital release, or just the digital release. Like, those were the options for people, and I always set it as pay what you want, so that way fans can pay whatever amount they want. They could pay $2 or more for the album. And then I think I had the vinyl priced at around 35 to 40 at the time, and that was the version of the vinyl I ended up having to redo, so I kind of had to switch things a little bit. But for the past couple albums, I've done a hoodie for When Love's the Motive, and I've done an art piece for Leaves and Soil most recently. So I've used Even for all of those, and the results have been kind of up and down. They haven't been super incredible, but they have gotten enough traction to where I'm going to keep exploring Even a little bit more. I think the problem with Even, or the biggest issue I have with Even, is that it's still relatively unknown, compared to Bandcamp, whereas Bandcamp I feel like has a much wider listenership and a much wider user base currently, where there's just a lot more people there to be able to have your stuff discovered, but also be able to attract your core fans over there as well. I think Even has the right idea. I think it's just trying to become big enough to have that traction on those platforms, and some artists are killing it on Even. Some artists like La Russell, who is one of the artists that highlighted Even early on and has been using it since it started. He's made thousands of dollars just being able to do the releases over there and then slowly bring them to streaming. And I guess the whole idea of releasing early and focusing on one platform to start is you're able to direct your fans to one central location. When you drop it on streaming platforms, especially when you send out like a TuneCore link or a DistroKid link or CD Baby, you are sending a link that sends people to multiple platforms. So it's not just sending them to one platform specifically. And more importantly, most of the time, those streaming platforms don't allow the artist, or don't allow the consumer, I should say, to support you on a real monetary level. Every stream, as we know, is like a fraction of a cent on most of these platforms. So you're not able to get any type of real gain from it. And again, the way I view streaming platforms now is they're a discoverability tool. They're a tool to get fans in the door, and then from there you have to show them where they can buy the merch, where they can buy the CDs, all that sort of thing. But with direct-to-consumer, with this approach, you're going to put the album out a little bit early, usually about a month ahead of time, and you're going to direct everybody right to that platform, whether it's Bandcamp or Even or whatever it is. Usually it's going to be a direct-to-consumer platform, though. And you're just going to explain to them, the whole situation. Like, this is basically an early release if you want to support it. This is how you do it. If you have merch or vinyl or anything attached to it, you're going to let them know about that as well. And that's pretty much the whole idea, is just to get some early funding from, the money you've already spent pouring into the project. So hopefully, if things go correctly, you could almost break even, no pun intended, you could almost break even before, the album hits streaming platforms, which I think is something that I think just a lot of people overlook because they're so used to what we've fallen into, this trap of just releasing it to Spotify, releasing it to Apple, and then just calling it a day. It's like, you should still do that. I believe in the power of those platforms still, but if you're looking for any type of monetary gain from it, and you're looking for some type of return on your investment that you've put into creating this music, it's better to do something like this. So I want to dive into this article, which isn't that long. It's pretty short. And it's called Why You Should Release on Bandcamp for Streaming Platforms. So it's going to give you some different highlights and some different reasons why you should do this. First, I'm going to take a water break though. Telling you what, I have tried to clear up my sinuses for like 4 months, and it ain't working. So wish me good health, people. But we'll start out here with the intro. It says, in this article, we discuss a handful of reasons why you should release your music on Bandcamp before you release it on streaming platforms such as Spotify and Apple Music. The first highlight is putting the fans first. The first reason is that you are delivering to the most valuable player first, the real music fan, not just the passive consumer. Also, releasing on Bandcamp first allows you to focus on promoting that one link before the streaming release, which is pretty much what I was describing, where you're sending them to a central location. You're sending everybody there. And the good thing about Bandcamp, unlike Even, is that anyone can access it. They don't necessarily need to have an account or do anything like that. I could just be a random person and go to Bandcamp and check it out and buy the material, which is also great. Next up, premium release. Did you know that you can add non-music content to an album release on Bandcamp? This could include exclusive video content, liner notes, or pretty much anything you could put together in Photoshop or Canva. You can even list merch specific to a release. I ended up tying the vinyl for Unknown Advantage to my release over there, and it's still over there. There's 10 copies left, by the way, so if you want a copy and you didn't get one, definitely go check that out. But that's an example of tying something to it, but you can do all kinds of things. I've seen people do autographed artwork, or maybe even some type of exclusive CD that has maybe a bonus track or something like that. Like, the possibilities are endless, and they make it easy on Even to integrate shipping as well. So if somebody orders, let's say, a CD from you, they handle the shipping label and all that stuff, and they get all that stuff figured out for you, which I think is really cool. Bandcamp builds your email list. Did you know that when someone follows you on Bandcamp, that they can opt in to your mailing list at the same time? This allows you to connect with your fans directly. You could take the audience and nurture them with email marketing, which we've touched on before. In general, you should already have an email list. So definitely going the extra mile to let those people know that their support is appreciated. I always try to reach out to these people, especially the end of this past year. I had a lot of people, new followers and people that supported Leaves and Soil. So what I did was, because I had the email of the buyer, I just emailed them a thank you and said, really appreciate you checking my stuff out. And then from there, I've been sending them updates on new music. When the Bandcamp Fridays start up here next month, I'm going to be sending them a lot of information about that, and just keeping them in the loop. And hopefully you get those return buyers coming in. Next up, sell music. At the time of writing this article, fans have paid artists $895 million using Bandcamp and $205 million in the last year. Bandcamp is a vibrant community of music lovers and buyers. So going in with Bandcamp first allows you to sell copies of your premium release before it goes out to streaming platforms. You can list CDs, tapes, and vinyls, thus catering to those who collect music. And then they end up leaving you a video at the end. This article is written by unlock.com. It's Unlock Your Sound, actually. So definitely check this one out. But they leave you a video at the end, too, that goes a little bit more in depth about Bandcamp, the platform itself, and just some of the ways you can start planning your release and then eventually end up releasing your material. So that's pretty much all I had today. I mean, this isn't really something that's super in-depth. I would recommend also going to Bandcamp's official forum and their official website and start deep diving on some of the artist tools they have, because they have a great plethora of information for you about how to release, strategies. There's ways to send to Bandcamp. And I don't know if I've mentioned this on any of these workshops, but I actually had my song from Leaves and Soil, the beat called Immunity, was featured in Bandcamp's The Hip Hop Show, which is a great show. It's usually every other Friday, hosted by Stony Creation. So I ended up sending the album to Bandcamp, the official Bandcamp email, but I also sent it to Stony's official email address. And she ended up including that song in the show. It's actually the beat that was playing during one of the artist interviews for that week. It was like the end of November. So really huge opportunity for me, something that I never imagined I would be a part of. So I was super honored to have that happen. And hopefully I can get more music in there. But my plan now is to send more releases to Stony and to the people at Bandcamp and hopefully get more music featured. And I gotta say, I've seen a really big uptick in followers, supporters, and just people that are tapping in with what I'm doing just through being featured on that show. So they provide you different opportunities to get heard as well, which I think is super awesome. And it kind of beats, to me, it beats the whole playlist thing that's going on with Spotify, because I've been featured in so many Spotify playlists at this point, and none of those have moved the needle quite like this past opportunity with Bandcamp. So, I can't guarantee anything for you. Results may vary, but I would look into, how are you going to get your music heard on this platform by more people, even if you just want to get your audience familiar with it, and just figure it out from there. And I gotta say, Bandcamp is not the only one. Like I said, there's Even, and there's just ways to do this through a website. Like if you want to build a website and build some type of way for people to buy this album and stream it within some type of like media player or something, go ahead. I don't really have the time or the money to do that myself. I'd rather go to a platform like Bandcamp that allows me to just make an account and do this all for free. But obviously they keep a cut of the money, so it's like, I don't know, you can kind of weigh your opportunity cost and see what works best for you. But what I'm trying to say in general with this is there's so many ways to do direct to consumer and do this early release strategy. So just start researching, and let me know in the comments as well if you have any experience with, releasing your album early to one platform. It's something I'm going to keep doing with my solo releases, and hopefully do it with more of the collaborative releases I have coming out soon. But I've seen nothing but good things from it, and I would never recommend it to you if I didn't believe in the strategy myself. So again, results may vary, but definitely experiment and see what you guys can do with that. So that is it. We're clocking like 15 minutes here, nothing crazy. But like I said, February 2nd will be the next one of these. That will be about my... trying to get my voice better, I swear. That will be about my trip to NAMM coming up here in about a week from now. So by the time I get back, I'll be able to recap that. I'm going to make a couple of different videos about it, but I'll do a workshop about it. NAMM is basically a trade show for music gear companies, tech companies, and it's basically just a meeting of the minds for a lot of people in the industry. So it's something I wanted to do, something I wanted to attend for about 5 years now. I finally get the chance to go out there and check it out. So I'm going to be in Anaheim and going to the convention center to check it out. So hopefully I have some notes and some good experiences, and hopefully connect with some awesome people as well. So that'll be the next one next month. And like I said, you're not going to be seeing me do these all the time this year, but when I do, hopefully they are ways to provide extreme value, or at least some type of value to you guys. So that's pretty much it. Let me know your strategies for Bandcamp or any type of early release in the comments below. As always, stay safe, stay positive. We'll see you guys on the 2nd of next month. And until then, take care, everyone.